right, welcome to the Tristan Law Show, everybody. Thank you so much for hanging out. Couldn't find myself for a second. Couldn't figure out what was going on, but we are live. We are here. That's the worst thing about doing a live podcast is that once you are live, and anything that happens can happen and will happen. I'm Tristan Law. If it's your first time here, welcome. And if you've been here before, welcome back. Today, I am talking about what WWE Raw is going to look like on Netflix. My podcast is fully interactive in case you've never been here before. Whether you are watching live or you're watching later on when it's not live, all you have to do is just put some comments in the comment section and then we can talk about it. We're talking about what is WWE Raw going to look like in 2025. So let's jump right in. Let's tear off our shirts like wrestlers. And in case you didn't know, Netflix paid over $5 billion over 10 years for WWE, which includes Raw and other international programming. Here in the US, from what I understand so far, we're just getting Raw. That's it. Netflix is going to have exclusive rights to all the WWE shows and specials outside of the US. And that includes SmackDown, NXT, and all the premium live events / pay-per-view, WrestleMania, SummerSlam like we just had this weekend. The deal also includes a clause that in 5 years, if Netflix is not happy, they can just dip and send WWE packing. And there's also an option within 5 years for them to expand for an additional 10 years. So now we're looking at the question now, so what does WWE Raw look like on Netflix? Very good question. And I want to hear that from you. Drop that in the comments. Let's chat about it. Let's talk about it. We got some comments from Threads. I'm huge into Threads. I don't use Twitter. I don't use X. I use Threads. That's what I use. The Real Big Trist. That's where you can find me there. And we had a little discussion there. We're going to talk about that in just a little bit. Just so you kind of know where the WWE is coming from and where they are and where they were and everything else like that. WWE programming used to always be in the 90s, early 90s. It used to be about PG. It was PG. But then on January 9th, 1999, I remember that was a good year, WWE adopted the TV-14 parental rating so that in the United States here, we use TV-14 so that this may not be for children. Edgier programming became more popular around that time, and WWE needed to compete with WCW. July 22nd, 2008, though, however, WWE switched to PG television, meaning that it was more for children now. And the first pay-per-view that they had that was underneath that PG umbrella was SummerSlam 2008. Now, just to set the table even a little bit more, when you are looking at other pro wrestling organizations right now, there's only 3 that I rank in the United States as the top 3. I'm not counting Ring of Honor. Ring of Honor is underneath AEW. The top 3 right now are WWE, AEW, and TNA / Impact Wrestling. But we're not going to call it Impact Wrestling anymore. We're just going to call it TNA, because that's what it is. TNA, Total Nonstop Action Wrestling. TNA is currently rated TV PG. AEW, on the other hand, is rated TV-14. So what does that mean? We will go into that in just a little bit more. But everybody has had an issue with WWE being PG for so long. For so long, everybody had an issue with WWE being PG that right now, the number 3 pro wrestling company in the world, in the United States, is catching up. They're sitting rightfully where they belong at the table, and they're also PG. Netflix getting Raw in 2025 is huge. It's big. And Netflix invests in high quality content to attract new subscribers and to retain current subscribers, okay? I'm one of those people that they can't retain because I'll watch what I'm trying to watch, and when I'm done, I'm gonna cancel it. That's literally how it works for me. I'm gonna watch what I'm gonna watch, I'm gonna cancel it. Except for Raw. When Raw starts on Netflix, all right, Netflix, you got my money. Maybe I'll have to cancel something else, but you got my money. Netflix is good for the wrestling business. Let me tell you why. It's Netflix on having WWE programming on there is going to have Netflix step up, have WWE and other pro wrestling companies step up their game. Everybody else is going to want to compete with Monday Night Raw, WWE, and everything else that is going on. And the reason why I say that everybody's going to have to step their game up is I feel strongly in my heart that WWE program is going to change just a little bit, just a little bit. Netflix is also known for paying tons of money to show content that can't be shown elsewhere. They will open up their wallets just so that they can have good quality programming on their network, on their streaming service, so that you don't have to go elsewhere to watch it, because that's the only place that you can watch it. And that's where the Netflix exclusive and the Netflix original came from. Let's take a look at some of the parental guidance ratings, just so we can set the table a little bit more and understand what happens here in the U.S. Let's take a look at that. So we're looking at TV PG, and that pretty much means that the programming may have content that isn't suitable for younger children, and it can include occasional coarse language, some sexual content, suggestive dialogue, or moderate violence. Parents might find certain material inappropriate for younger viewers. Okay, so some examples of what you can get on Netflix that are under that TV PG rating is Fuller House, My Wife and Kids, and wrestling fans, if you forgot this one, I'm going to remind you of it, The Big Show. Okay, those are all TV PG shows. Those shows so right now, WWE programming, especially more so on Raw, because they're on cable television and not broadcast television like Fox, where they have SmackDown, they get away with a little bit more. There's a lot of innuendos when it comes to the whole Liv Morgan and Dominic and Rhea Ripley storyline right now. There's a lot of innuendos when it comes around to that. And they don't push the line, they touch the line. And I think that once we get to Netflix, they're going to push that line a little bit more. Here is the TV 14 rating that everybody's so thirsty to get. So TV 14 rating indicates that the program may not be suitable for children under 14. Parents should be cautious about letting children watch alone. These programs can have intensely suggestive dialogue, strong language, intense sexual situations, or intense violence. Some shows that you can find on Netflix like that would be like Stranger Things or Wednesday or 13 Reasons Why. I remember watching TV 14 shows before I was 14. I'm not going to lie, I was watching before I was 14. But, I don't think my mother even knew, but, surprise, now she knows now. And it's like, it all depends on who your children are and what your backgrounds are, whether you're going to watch let your 12-year-old watch a TV PG show. Regardless of the rating, WWE may be able to get away with more on Netflix. Why? Because the FCC does not regulate. I'll repeat it again. The FCC does not regulate streaming platforms. They don't regulate YouTube. YouTube regulates themselves. They don't regulate Netflix. Netflix regulates themselves. They don't regulate Facebook TV, Hulu, none of that. They don't regulate that. They don't regulate streaming platforms. So what does that mean? So to me, what that means is that WWE is going to push the envelope. They are going to meet the guideline of the rating and just step a little bit over the line. That's what I think they're going to do. Whichever rating system they go with, they're going to go over the line. Or what WWE can do is they can go all the way for the TV 14 and scale it all the way back. So it's still PG, but then it's just a little bit edgy and not too much edgy. Is it possible to get more mature storylines and character development once WWE Raw and other programming hits Netflix? Yes. I 100% believe that it is going to get just a little bit edgier. Not nothing that's going to be too out of control. Look, I'm sorry. As a fellow Attitude Era kid, I'm sorry that I'm going to break your heart with what I'm about to say. The Attitude Era is not coming back. I swear, once 2025 hits and Monday Night Raw, WWE Raw gets on Netflix, you're not going to get the Attitude Era. I don't see that. That's not happening. The Attitude Era was something that was very unique at the time, and it served its purpose, and it no longer serves its purpose. If you want edgier programming, you can watch AEW. And that's what I love about AEW. There's some things that AEW does really well. And one of the things that AEW does really well is that they play to their audience. Their audience are the people that didn't want PG wrestling anymore. Their audience are the people that didn't want people like John Cena. People that love AEW are people who did not want sports entertainment. They wanted pro wrestling. I wholeheartedly, and I'm not a huge AEW fan. Do I keep up with it? Not as much as I should, I'll admit. But I think I know AEW does pro wrestling really well, while WWE does sports entertainment out of this world. Out of this world. What are your personal expectations of Raw when it goes to Netflix? Let me know in the comments what your personal expectations of Raw are when it hits Netflix in 2025. So on Threads, I went ahead and I presented everybody with this question. Here's the question. Hey, WWE Threads, here's the question. When WWE Raw hits Netflix, what are your expectations for programming? So we went through and we got a lot of comments on what people expected on Netflix. And here's one of the comments. We got Dice and Capes on Threads. He said, he just wants the blackouts and the sound cuts to end. So if you don't know what Dice and Capes is talking about, if you're watching WWE programming and the fans start chanting things like holy SHIT or UF blank blank K up, or, shut, anything that's like really out of the line, that's outside of the PG realm, they'll mute it. So it's even more prevalent on SmackDown. You're watching SmackDown and you're like, what's going on with the TV? You have no clue what's going on with the TV because they're censoring it. And that's something that I know wholeheartedly. I know 1,000,000% in my heart. That's not something that's going to happen when Netflix takes on the role of streaming WWE Raw live and other WWE programming starting in 2025. Here's another message that we got on Threads. I'm Crystal says, really hoping for less reliance on replays constantly. Cut those out and suddenly there's a much shorter pure wrestling show with matches and promos. So what he is talking about is there are times in wrestling to where they're going to do the replay to show you something that you missed. Now that I feel like WWE will have a lot more carte blanche to where they may not have to end at after 3 hours, they can do whatever it is that they want. Another question I want you to answer as well too in the chat, or if you're watching live, you can answer it right now. Do you think that WWE will still be 3 hours when they get to Netflix? Will they be less? Will they be 2.5? Because technically, with all the commercials, WWE Raw really isn't 3 full hours. When you're watching WWE Raw, you're really just there sitting for 3 hours, but there's commercials. There's probably like what? Let's say it's probably about 22:44. It's probably like an hour and 40 minutes worth of actual programming. So yeah, that's a really good question. Let me know what you think there. Let's look at another comment. _ACS 1990 _ from Threads. He says no commercials in the middle of matches. So obviously WWE has to pay bills. They got to pay bills. They have to They have to show advertising. It's how they make money. But will they show commercials when they get to Netflix? So from what I understand, I am not a Netflix subscriber, but Netflix might do something to where the show pauses, where it stops, and it's going to show commercials, but the content will still keep running. But they may have an ad-free version, because I think a couple months ago when I purchased it, there was an ad-free version, because I don't have Netflix right now. I think what WWE might do is that if you are not paying for the ads, that's fine. You're going to continue to get action. So it's going to be a constant pro wrestling match. You're not going to miss anything. However, if you have the lower tier Netflix, you're going to have the ads and you're going to miss everything. And I think what WWE and Netflix can do to partner so that they can get more people to not purchase the ad-free, the no-ad version of Netflix is to have compelling things happen during the break. And that if you miss it, well, you know what? Maybe you shouldn't have been such a cheapskate. I'm talking to myself. Let's take a look at another message that I got on Threads. Makbar_Ramirez says, when it relates to what he's looking to see on WWE programming on Netflix, he wants fights without commercial interruption, more fluid programming between matches, such as they have a camera right now that when they stay with you in the back, and then when you're going out to the ring, they follow you out to the ring. But he's also expecting Netflix to screw this up and put commercials in the products, so none of this will ever happen. I hope I'm wrong. You know what, Makbar? I hope that you are wrong too. Let's look at another one. This is Mark Abraham 89. He said he's looking for commercial-free episodes of Raw. He's looking for a new set and a new theme song. As far as the WWE Library, how that looks post WWE Network in the UK is anyone's guess. Bro, I'm going to tell you how the WWE Network, how the WWE Library looks post WWE Network here in the US. It's trash. We have to watch it on Peacock, and it's trash. I liked the WWE Network before when it was just its own standalone product here in the United States, and all you would do is just type in Triple H, and it would give, I'm a huge Triple H fan, and it would show me a bunch of Triple H matches. And once I clicked the video, I would jump into the video where that Triple H match is. Now, if I type in Triple H, it's going to show me a bunch of events that had Triple H, but I'm going to have to watch the event and skate through the whole entire thing to find it. So if I have an idea of what it will look like, that's what I think it will look like. All right, so we got more comments here on Threads. Going back to my original question, I was asking people, you know, what do they view Netflix looking like with WWE programming on it? And here's another one that we got from Brian's Houston. Definitely raising the violence. You can see them slowly working up to that now, so it doesn't feel much like a 180. He thinks that they will get more profane promos too. He doesn't think an edited version after every airing is out of the question, so they don't lose the young audience. I think the most important thing there is the young audience. The reason why you want the young audience is because I have a kid, okay? And he's not at that age yet to where he really likes anything. The only thing that he really likes right now is Bluey. Kid loves Bluey. Every time you see something, Bluey, yeah, okay, yeah, it's Bluey. We love Bluey, okay? But when you have older kids, they will nag you. They will antagonize you as a parent. And I know this firsthand because I was that kid who used to nag and antagonize my parents when they want something. So you don't want to lose those young audiences because their parents have the money and parents do it. A lot of parents do a lot of things to try to keep their kids happy. When it comes to the profane promos, I think the promos are going to get a little bit more edgier, but just not enough to alienate the younger audience to where their parents are going to go, well, I'll never let them watch. Quick story about WWE being TV 14 back in the day. I remember living in the Bronx as a kid. I used to watch Monday Night Raw religiously as a teenager. And it was a night that Goldust slapped his wife Marlena on TV. Do you know that my mother came in and turned the TV off and said, don't you ever watch wrestling in my house again? That my son will not watch any programming to where a woman gets slapped by a man. Was she right? Of course, she was right. You know, mom always knows best. But here's the thing with pro wrestling. If it was a regular TV show, because I remember watching that movie with Tina Turner where she pretended, was it Tina Turner? Or somebody, Angela Bassett. Angela Bassett was playing Whitney Houston in a movie. And then she got assaulted by the on-screen character who was Ike Turner. And my mother let me watch that. I remember watching that as a kid. But the thing with pro wrestling is that whenever you watch pro wrestling is always assumed to be happening now. It's like watching basketball. If the person on the basketball court has a personality, you don't think, oh, he's acting. You just go, oh, no, that's who he really is. Let's take a look at some more comments that we got on Threads. D._major music. My guy says, not quite the Attitude Era, but not quite PG. I agree. I think they fall somewhere in the middle. They'll bring back blood somewhat. We've seen blood. We've seen blood in the last couple months. We've seen blood. And he wants a little bit more. He thinks it's going to be a little bit more profanity, kind of like the Rock and Cody segment. And the Rock and Cody segment that he's talking about is from around the build-up to WrestleMania XO, one of the greatest WrestleManias of all time. There were things that The Rock was saying that you go, oh, wow, is this like the WWE that we're watching, or is this the WWE that The Rock grew up wrestling in? So yeah, definitely there. Let's take a look at one last comment, and this is from Vashtit, the Black Jew. His expectation is that he will finally be able to watch live again. That's it. That's his whole entire comment. He'll be able to watch live again. Thank you so much, everybody, for interacting with me on Threads. You could find me at Threads at The Real Big Tris. I'm very active there. I voice my opinion on a lot of things, but primarily what we talk about is pro wrestling. When you're looking at the younger audience, I want to talk about the younger audience for a second. When you're looking at the younger audience with pro wrestling, and I talked about this before, that's where WWE's made their money. They have really buttered their bread when it comes to the younger audience. Okay, that's where they've made their money in the past. Golly, they became PG in, I got it written out here, in 2008. So let's see, 2008 to 18, almost, maybe 15 years? I'm just freestyling that number in my head right now. But WWE right now, they butter their bread really well when it comes to the younger audience. And I don't think they're going to unbutter their bread with that. The people that had to watch PG era because they felt, that couldn't watch the PG era because they felt like the WWE was no longer growing up, those were the people that couldn't let go. Those are probably the people that couldn't get over the fact that WWE changed with the times, right? WWE didn't need to be edgy anymore, and they wanted to get into more markets. There are some countries in this world that you'll be able to watch Netflix, and there's certain things that you can't watch on those Netflix because they're not appropriate for those cultures. And I think that WWE is going to stay within that PG realm, but step just their big toe over the line just a little bit to not alienate or disrespect those fans from abroad. My predictions of WWE Raw and Netflix, it's going to be fire. It's going to be fire. It's going to be something that we're all going to be talking about. I definitely see a new set. I definitely see new music. I see all that speculation of possible new storylines. Now that they're messing with TNA, I think that it's going to be a great crossover for TNA to be able to come over and expose themselves to a bigger format. Listen, when I'm talking about international, every single person in the world will be able to watch WWE Raw when it is live. As long as you have an active subscription of Netflix, you can be able to watch it. So if you're in London, you're watching Raw the same exact time that I'm watching Raw in America. If you're in Japan and they have Netflix there, right, you're going to be able to watch Netflix live the same exact time. So no matter where you are in the world, they're going to be able to watch WWE at the same time. When it comes to innovations, they have Netflix has had shows where you can pretty much, choose your own adventure. And I think that WWE is going to incorporate some of that, and they may bring back different things like Cyber Sunday, right? Let the fans dictate the show. Let the fans book the show. So that's what I see what's going to happen when it comes to Netflix adopting the WWE. The way that it might influence other wrestling promotions, let me tell you something. AEW's watching. TNA is watching. Major League Pro Wrestling, every pro wrestling television company in the world is going to be watching those first couple of episodes of Netflix to see what Monday Night Raw looks like. Because you know what? They're going to have to either keep up with the times or get left behind. Regardless of what anybody thinks, whether you are a WWE fan or not, WWE, they set the standard for what is good in pro wrestling. Don't tell me that's not true, because I disagree with you 100%. That's not true. That is 100% true. When it looks forward to the TV deals as well too. Now, there are other streaming services out there like Hulu, like Sling, right? Sling TV is a streaming service, Disney Plus, and I can just keep Apple TV. I can just keep going on and on and on. Those companies are going to be watching as well too. And they want to see what Netflix is going to be able to bring. And if AEW and Ring of Honor and all those other companies are not able to keep up with the WWE, they're going to leave traditional TV and they're going to go over to streaming. And that's going to turn not only the pro wrestling world, but the broadcast world on its head. Because now pro wrestling has been around as long as TV's been around. And now they're getting ready to go to streaming. It's only a changing of the time. What do you think that WWE Raw will look like on Netflix? Go ahead and tell me in the comments. Very interested into what you think. Stay updated with future episodes here on the Tristan Law Show. All you gotta do is subscribe. That's it. And tell somebody what you like. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I am Tristan Law. This is another episode of the Tristan Law Show. And I'll be back on Friday at noon. Tell a friend. Don't make this a secret. I will. See you next time. I got some laundry to fold. Thanks for watching.
I don't need a guide, follow the lights, take me where I wanna visit. Are you alive? Or just breathing? Flashing red lights, driving at night, windowless ride, feeling alive. Nothing in sight, forever in flight. Follow those lines, we'll make it this time. Blurry street lights, work as a guide to memories that we're making tonight. Oh yeah, we'll make it tonight. Yeah.